This really is an age of information overload, and I think it's important that we recognize and identify that we're being bombarded by enormously larger amounts of information than ever before. We take in 5 times as much information every day on average as we did in 1986. That's the equivalent of 175 newspapers read cover to cover. In 1976, the average grocery store had 9,000 unique items. Today, that same grocery store has 40,000 unique items. And because most of us get all of our shopping needs met in 150 items, you've got to ignore 38,500 items every time you go shopping. And that ignoring comes with some cognitive cost. It's because you're not actually able to ignore something until you've paid attention to it long enough to know that you want to ignore it. We've created a world that has 300 exabytes of human-made information. That's 300 followed by 18 zeros. Just a few years ago, Google estimates there were only 30 exabytes of human-made information. We've created more information in the last couple of years than in all of human history before us. And we're assaulted by it every day. I think everybody feels that you're doing more, you have less free time to do what you want to do. Your head is always partly somewhere else. And I think that's no way to live. It didn't used to be that way, and I think we need to take some steps to grab back that sense of gratification that you get from being immersed in one thing and not doing something else. What we're doing is multitasking, of course, and it's only in the last 5 years that neuroscientists have discovered that multitasking doesn't really exist. The brain simply doesn't work that way. What's actually happening is your brain is rapidly shifting its focus from one thing to the next. And because the neural switch operates so quickly, you don't really notice that you're shifting, and it gives you the illusion of doing a bunch of things at once. We're shifting so rapidly that we feel as though everything is fluid, when in fact it's not. We're fractionating our attention into little itty bits, and all of that switching comes at a cost. And I know something about this because it was my laboratory that discovered the location of the switch, the neural switch that pushes you between activities. It's in a structure called the insula. If you put your hand at the top of your head, those of you who don't remember your introductory neuroanatomy, put your hand on the top of your head, it's a couple of inches below the center there, and the insula is what's doing all the switching. The problem is, as you might imagine, when you get a neural switch to switch, it uses up resources, neural resources that are in limited supply. Every time you ask this switch to operate in the insula, you're using up the same neural resources that you would need to solve a problem or to get the energy to stay focused on something, to come up with a creative solution to something. Same nutrients, same neural resources, you're using them to switch. What we find in workplace studies is that people who will actually focus on a task, unitasking as opposed to multitasking, at the end of the day, they feel like they got less done. But by every objective measure, they've been more productive, their work has been regarded by others, often their superiors, as of higher quality and possessing greater creativity. The multitasker thinks they're being really good at it.
I am not using this computer voice to hide behind irony. I am not using this computer voice to hide behind irony.